This is not the first generation of RYOBI's multi-tool. In fact, it's generation 2 of the RYOBI HP 18-volt multi-tool. Let's take a closer look. This is one oscillating multi-tool that definitely won't break the bank and may have the horsepower, or at least the performance, to really get some work done. And we'll see, this is the generation 2 of the One HP multi-tool. So we get a brushless motor. We know the HP designation stands for high performance, so we're getting a brushless motor, and we typically want to pair that with a high performance battery. This is the 2 amp hour version. Obviously you could put any One Plus battery on there. That's the glory of the RYOBI 18 volt One Plus batteries. But this is the 2 amp hour because you can buy this as a bare tool. The bare tool model number is the PBLMT51B, and if you want the kit, that's going to be, take the B off and you get the K1. So that'd be the kit with a 2 amp hour battery and a charger as well. Now also what you get with the kit is a few pieces of sandpaper. Looks like some 120, some 80 grit, probably some 60, yeah, so 60, 80 grit, and 120, as well as the sanding pad. And then you get your semicircle saw blade and a regular saw blade as well. We'll check those out, see how well they do. I'm sure it's not meant for metal, probably just a typical wood blade. Now on this, on the trigger is typically just like an on-off trigger with multi-tools, because we really don't need the variable speed, and that's correct. So pretty much you just pull it and you'll feel it click and it's on or off. Now we do get some different speeds. So we have a speed dial here from 6 down to 0. Now what I'm curious of is 0, 0, like we don't get anything. Yes, so look at there. So we can basically have the battery and the tool, turn this to 0, and the trigger does nothing. And then we can click that over, and still at half we get nothing. And then at 1 we finally start to get something. So we can basically set the speed with this dial. So 6 different speeds with the dial, from 0 to 20,000, not RPM, but OPM, oscillations per minute. Get these blades out of the way here, and let's take a look at the tool. And first off, as far as the length of the tool with the battery, right about 13 inches. And the width of the head looks like right at 2 inches for the head. We also get an LED light right here on the front, so when the trigger is pulled, that LED light's going to come on, going to provide some decent light for you wherever you're cutting, especially if you're cutting in the dark, sometimes around baseboards, things like that, or sanding in tight areas. That works out really well. Let's check out the weight of this. 2 pounds, 14.5 ounces. That's with that 2 amp hour battery. Don't know why we would weigh it without a battery, but under a pound, so 1 pound, 15 ounces. So right short of 2 pounds without a battery. So again, adding right at a pound with the 2 amp hour, so less than 3 pounds, battery and tool. Now we also get a trigger lock right here, which is not locking out the trigger, that's actually locking the trigger on. So I can pull the trigger, push the lock, and that's going to leave that on. I can go to cutting, or whatever I need to do, sanding, without having to hold that trigger. Now changing blades or accessories on this is very easy, no tools needed. And this may look like a thumb screw because you got some knurling around here, but it's really not. So you can twist that all you want. First, if it's locked down, you're not going to twist it at all. But even if we lift this lever, so we've got a lever right here, no tools needed. Again, said that once, say it again. So lift the lever all the way up and lock it out all the way up top where it won't go any further. And then you can spin this, but you can spin that all day long and you're not going to do anything. So what you're going to want to do is just kind of pull that out. And that will actually come all the way out if you want to. You don't have to pull it all the way out, and just kind of slide it out if you want to. And then you can put your blade on, depending on what type of blade you're putting on. And by the way, there are magnets on here to help retain that blade while you're putting that, that thumb screw or thumb pin back in place. But anyway, love to see those magnets because that just makes things a lot easier. The blade's not falling all over the place while you're trying to put it on. And so I can put that back in. That kind of looks like it indexes. Let me take a look at this again. Yeah, so there is a spot right there. So obviously that indexes at a certain location in there. There we go. So that goes in, and now we flip this down, and that locks that into place. So no twisting needed here. Something else I noticed, now there was another tool, another multi-tool that we reviewed that had this same feature. Look at this. That's not because there's a broken piece in there. It's not because it's just a shaky tool. But what I believe that's going to do is really limit the vibration on the tool or on the hands. Now the vibration's still going through the blade, which is actually the oscillation, which is doing your cutting, but it's not reverberating down the tool, or it's at least eliminating a lot of that. So basically you get some isolators in there that is absorbing some of that vibration that's typically in the tool. Most of your oscillating multi-tools, pretty rigid right there, and so all those vibrations, that 20,000 oscillations per minute, is going all the way through that tool, but not the case in this one, I don't believe. I believe that's why we're seeing that flex right there in the head of the unit. Now, as I mentioned, we get this typical wood blade here, and then we get a sanding pad, which is going to go in the same way, okay? Put it on there, and that magnet's holding it. Slide it in, lock it down, and now we're good to go. Now we can put our sanding pad on there and go to sanding. But we do have to remove that sanding disc or triangle before we can remove the pad, because we have to get our pin out of there. And then we also get the semicircle blade as well. But again, that magnet's going to help retain that. I can get it in the right spot there, and then we can put our pin in. And it just falls into place when you index it correctly. Let's go try it out. All right, so I am going to put on this RYOBI blade. I'll probably be changing that here shortly because it just doesn't have a very wide profile. But we'll try it out, see how well it does. Now, obviously not very tough material here with some PVC. And let's go middle of the road. Let's go like speed 3. And by the way, there's not an auto feature on here. So some of these newer tools have an auto setting. There is not on this one. So I can put it on 3, and that's where it's going to start. And I'm assuming that's probably somewhere around 10,000 oscillations per minute. Be honest, that feels kind of slow. Let's go ahead and just bump that all the way up. So once we got our vise locked down, that cuts really, really quick. But again, some pretty easy material to cut. Now I've got a piece of aluminum pipe in here. Again, not anything crazy thick. And I'm going to change out this blade. Change out the RYOBI blade. I'm going to go to a Milwaukee multi-material blade, made in USA blade, by the way. And install that there. All right, here we go. Yeah, no problem there. Let me give you a little tip. Number one, aluminum a lot of times will like to fill the teeth of a blade, so running it through some wax or something like that, or keeping aluminum lubricated when you cut it is the best thing to do. Regardless, when you're cutting any type of metal, even including aluminum, but especially when you're cutting steel, don't let the edge of the multi-tool blade contact the edge of the steel. That's where it will start to eat the teeth off a blade, no matter what blade it is. If you let it kind of grab the edge or the start of the steel, it's going to really do some damage. But if you'll keep it in the center of your working area, you won't have an issue. Now let's run that again, but I'm just going to lube this blade a little bit. I wish I had some wax. I've got some somewhere, but this may help. See how much quicker it cut that aluminum? It doesn't let it kind of gum up and fill the blades. It just cuts right through. If I'm not mistaken, this is just regular old pine, some 1 inch thick or 3/4 inch. And I'm going to leave in that multi-material blade and leave it on speed 6 as well. That's impressive. Again, I know it's not hardwood. Pretty quick. And that's not even a true wood blade. Put on Milwaukee's wood blade. And this is not their hardwood blade, just their regular wood blade. Not bad, RYOBI, not bad. All right, this is some typical 2x4, so let's make this a little tougher. And we're not going to just use drywall screws. We're going to change out that wood blade again. We're going to put on the nitrous carbide extreme metal blade for screws, bolts, things like that. Now you need to watch it because I did just lose this pin on the ground. It kind of came out. So make sure you don't lose that. So again, extreme metal blade. Took care of those 4 screws. Now let's go ahead and get some wood too. Still teeth left on the blade. The RYOBI's making it through. So definitely not cutting like a wood blade, but still cutting even after cutting all those screws, still being able to cut the wood. Now I've just gone to an extra wide multi-material blade, again from Milwaukee, made in USA blades. And we're just going to see if we can cut all the way through this 2x4. And then finally, we've got some hardwood in here. So let's put on our hardwood blade. Not bad at all. Great job, RYOBI. And confirming, even when I'm cutting hardwood, didn't matter if I was cutting that full 2x4 with the screws, this flexing here in the tool is definitely eliminating a lot of the vibration coming through the tool because I'm not feeling much at all. And those interested in the sanding, which I'm sure it will do quite well, put our 60 grit on. That's a little bit of glue residue on there, as well as there's some tape residue as well. Now, as we mentioned in the video earlier, is that this is one of those tools that won't break the bank. It's $129 for the bare tool, so that would get you the tool and these accessories here, except this blade here. This does not come with it. But anyway, the tool and the accessories is going to be $129. If you want to get it with the 2 amp hour battery and a charger, that's going to bump that up another 60 bucks at $189, and it will be available sometime in November. You get a 3-year warranty on HP tools. So 3-year warranty on this tool, and I believe the battery as well, 3-year warranty. So not a bad deal for a multi-tool that really performs like it does. Did very well at actually cutting through the power to be able to do it, as well as even limiting the vibration that you're feeling all the way through the tool. Did a great job. We ran most of it on high. It seemed to work the best. You may want to slow that down if you're cutting through some specific material, maybe some softer wood, things like that. But again, we saw the best results on leaving it on high and just powering through everything. And it did not have trouble doing that, whether it was hardwood, pine, or even cutting through PVC or aluminum as well. Check it out for yourself. Also keep track of us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and even TikTok. And if you don't mind, would you hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done so already? And by all means, if you hated our video, well, give us a thumbs down. But would you let us know in the comments why? Have a great day. Keep smiling.